Hello children, today let's see the second part of our class 8 science textbook, chapter 13, that is sound. So today first we are going to see the human ear. First of all, let's discuss about the various parts of human ear. Human ear can be divided into three parts: the outer ear, middle ear and inner ear. The outer ear comprises of the ear pinna, which we can see. The flap-like structure which we call ear is actually ear pinna, and this ear pinna leads to a canal that is called ear canal. So this ear pinna and ear canal comprises of our outer ear. As we go inside, we come across a drum-like structure, a flap or membrane-like structure called eardrum. Eardrum is very important for our sense of hearing. If our eardrum is malfunctioning, then we will not be able to hear properly or hear at all. So this eardrum, and along with this eardrum, can you see here ossicles? Here this is actually a combination of three bones: malleus, incus and stapes. These three are very small bones, and as you know, stapes is the smallest bone in our body. This all comprises the middle ear, and as we go inside from these three bones, when we go inside, we will see these canals, semicircular canals, which are responsible for the balance of our body. And this round circular structure, isn't it like a shell of a snail? This is called cochlea and eustachian tube. All these comprises of our inner ear, and this cochlea sends the message through auditory nerve. Can you see here? These are auditory nerve which will take the information to our brain, and from there the brain will analyze what we have heard and will make sense out of it. So our ear can be divided into three parts: outer ear, middle ear and inner ear. Now you have to understand the eardrum is like a stretched rubber band. If you don't have rubber sheet, then what you can do, you take a balloon, and if you will stretch it, doesn't it become very thin? And when you just hit on that membrane slowly, you will hear some sound. So our eardrum is like a stretched rubber sheet, and some sound vibrations make the eardrum vibrate. Whatever we hear will make this eardrum vibrate, and when this eardrum will vibrate, it will send the information ahead and it will ultimately reach to our brain. But we have to remember that we must never put a sharp, pointed or hard thing into our ear. It can damage the eardrum. The damaged eardrum can impair hearing. If we will put some sharp object inside our ear, and if it punctures or make holes in our eardrum, then the eardrum will not function properly and it may lead to hearing impairment. That means we will not be able to hear properly. Now let's understand this whole process of hearing in human beings with the help of this video. Here, when we hear a sound, it enters into our ear pinna, and through ear canal it is going inside, and here it reaches the eardrum. Due to sound vibrations, the eardrums vibrate, and when the eardrum vibrate, it moves these three bones: malleus, incus and stapes. Incus is like a hammer, incus and malleus, as you can see, and when this vibrate, then these vibrations are amplified by these three bones. They increase the vibration, and this vibration reaches the cochlea. The cochlea is filled with liquid. When we vibrate something, now you see children, whenever you see there is a mug or cup or bucket of water. If you just heat it a little on the bucket or glass, doesn't the water starts to vibrate or starts to move? The same thing happens here. When the bones increase the vibration or amplify the vibration of the eardrum, this sends the vibrations to the cochlea, which is filled with liquid, and there the liquid in the cochlea will show these wave like structures or these vibrations, and these vibrations now are transferred through these auditory nerves to our brain, and the brain will make sense and know whether it is music or noise, and whether your mother, father, friend, whoever is speaking, the voice will be recognized by the brain. So I hope that you have understood how the hearing works in human beings. Next is properties of sound vibration. Here we are going to see, first is time period. Time taken by the particle to complete one vibration is the time period for that particle. Do you remember what is one vibration or one oscillation? If the movement starts from here, going in this direction, then this direction, then again coming to its original position, is called as one vibration or one oscillation. And the time taken to complete this one vibration or one oscillation is called time period. And the formula for time period is 1 divided by frequency. So, as we have discussed earlier, sound vibration is actually wave. So, sound is a wave, and wave moves in this direction, isn't it? So, if this is the mean position, we will start from here up, we will go, then we will go down, and then again when we will come to the mean position, that means the line from where the vibration start, this is one vibration. Or if we start from the top, then here we will go and up to the middle of the another crest, this is one vibration. Okay, so time period can be find out by the formula 1 by frequency. Next is, what is frequency actually? The number of oscillations per second is known as the frequency of oscillation. That means in 1 second, how many times the object vibrate, or how many times it has made the oscillation. If in 1 second it has made only one, then its frequency will be 1. Okay, if it has made one oscillation, then it means it has the frequency of 1. And frequency is denoted by the unit hertz, or in short H capital and small z, hertz. So if in 1 second the body is vibrating only one time, then the frequency will be 1 and we will write 1 hertz. But if the particle in 1 second is vibrating 1, 2, 3 times, then we will say the frequency is 3 and it will be written as 3 hertz. Did you understand, children? The frequency can be found out by the formula 1 by time period. Next is pitch of the sound. Pitch of the sound actually depends on the frequency of vibration of the waves. Pitch, if we will say a sound is high pitch, that means it is very pointed sound or very high sound, very shrill sound. Okay, for example, here you see, if the frequency of vibration is higher, that means in 1 second it is vibrating many times. We say that the sound is shrill and has a high pitch. For example, the sound that comes from a whistle. If the sound is said to have a lower pitch, then it has a lower frequency of vibration. That means in 1 second, if the sound is only vibrating for small number or only few times it is vibrating, then the sound is said to be low pitch, like when we thumb on desk, like this sound. When we thumb on the desk, this sound has low pitch. But when a baby cries, then a woman shouts, or the sound of a whistle or flute, which is when we blow very hard on a flute, that shrill sound will have very high frequency, and they will be called as having high pitch or high pitch sound. Did you understand, children? Here you see, comparing the frequency with the same loudness, the strings of the guitar, if we will pluck them very slowly, not very hard, softly, if we will pluck, or we will just softly move the strings, then what will happen? The sound is slow or lower, then it doesn't have much frequency. That means it is a little lower pitch. But if you will pluck the strings very hard, then the sound it makes will be a little shrill, and it will be more shrill, and it will be said to have a higher pitch sound with higher frequency. Did you understand, children? More the frequency, higher will be the pitch. Less the frequency, lower will be the pitch. Next, let's see amplitude. The amplitude of a sound wave is the loudness or the amount of maximum displacement of vibrating particles of the medium, and from their mean position when the sound is produced. Or in simple, it is the measure of the height of the wave. So let me explain it to you with the help of these diagrams. This line we have drawn where the particle is actually sitting or at rest in the initial part. Before moving, the particle is situated here. So from here, this is called the mean position. Okay. From here, how much high the wave is going, this height from the mean position up to this height is called amplitude. Did you understand? This height, or we can count it from the downwards also. This from the mean position, how much lower it went, or from the mean position, how high it went, is the amplitude. Now, from here, let's say the movement is starting from here. So up it will go, again it will come down, and again when it will reach to its original position from the mean position where it started movement, this is one frequency or one vibration or one oscillation. Not frequency, vibration or oscillation. If we will count from here, the middle of the crest, then down and again up, and the middle of the next crest will be called as the time period. Okay, for one vibration, how much time it is taking is vibration. Then the displacement, maximum displacement, matlab up means up to which height from this mean position, how much high it is going or how much low it is going, is our amplitude, the height of the wave. Loudness is directly proportional to the amplitude of the sound. The loudness is expressed in a unit called decibel, or D small and capital B. Here you see, loudness is directly proportional. Directly proportional means both will increase together. If amplitude is high, the sound will be loud. If amplitude is very low, then the sound will be feeble. It will not be loud, it will be very feeble. For example, when we speak in our normal tone and when we whisper, which one is louder? When we talk in our normal sound or when we shout, that will have higher amplitude and those sound will be loud. And when we whisper something, the sound is very feeble. It is not loud, it is feeble. Then the amplitude will be low. Here you can understand with the help of this graph, if the amplitude is small, it is quieter or the sound is feeble. Whereas if the amplitude is high, the sound is louder. Okay, children? So if the amplitude of a sound wave is large, that means very high, then the loudness of sound will be more. If the amplitude is small, then the sound will be feeble. So here some of the the level of loudness in decibel is expressed, normal breathing is usually of 10 decibel. Soft whisper usually at 30 decibel. Then normal conversation up to 60 decibel, busy traffic sound up to 70 decibel, and average factory sound coming from the factory is 80 decibel. Above 80 decibel, the noise becomes physically painful. That means it starts hurting our ears. Audible and inaudible sounds. Audible sounds are those sounds which we can hear. So the frequencies of sounds which can be detected by human ear are called audible sounds. Sound can be very low or very high, but human beings have a certain range up to which we can hear. Okay, we cannot hear very low sound, very feeble sound, and we cannot hear very high pitched or high frequency sound. So the sound frequencies which can be detected by our ear and which we can hear are called audible sounds. The human ear can detect sounds in the range of 20 Hz to 20 kilohertz or 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. Okay, so these are called audible sounds. Whereas inaudible sound, the frequencies of sounds which cannot be detected by human ear are called inaudible sounds. The sounds of frequencies less than 20 vibrations per second or 20 Hz. If the frequency of the sound is less than 20 Hz, or if the frequency of the sound is higher than 20,000 Hz or 20 kilohertz, those sounds cannot be detected by our human ears and are called inaudible to our ears, and these are called inaudible sounds. So what is the range of human ear? The range of audibility for human ear is 20 Hz to 20 kilohertz or 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. Okay, children, you remember this? Now, infrasound or infrasonic sound. The sound waves with a frequency below the lower limit of audibility or human hearing, that is below 20 Hz, are called as infrasound or low frequency sound. Just now we have discussed here, right? The lower limit for human hearing is 20 Hz. If the sound is less than, the frequency of the sound is less than 20 Hz, then such sounds are called infrasonic or infrasound. People use this frequency range for monitoring earthquakes and volcanoes, charting rock and petroleum formations below the earth, and also in ballistocardiography and seismocardiography to study the mechanics of the heart. In case of animals like whales, elephants, hippopotamuses, rhinoceroses, giraffes, okapis, peacocks, and alligators are known to use infrasound to communicate over distances. It is up to hundreds of miles in case of whales. So you have to remember what are the uses of infrasound for humans and for animals. Next is ultrasound. The sound waves with a frequency higher than the upper limit of human hearing, that is more than 20 kilohertz, are called ultrasound. Doctors commonly use ultrasound to study a developing fetus, a person's abdominal and pelvic organs, muscles and tendons, or their heart and blood vessels. These are also used to detect objects and measure distances. Have you heard of ultrasound scan? The ultrasound scan in the medical equipments are nothing but using this ultrasound, which are of frequencies more than 20 kilohertz, more than the capacity of human hearing. Animals such as bats and dolphins send out ultrasound waves and use their echoes or reflected waves to identify the locations of objects they cannot see. The police use high-frequency whistles which dog can hear but humans cannot. So you have to remember, animals like bat and dolphins use ultrasound, and For humans, these are used mainly for the purpose of medicine, or in the purpose of for medical treatments. Next is noise and music. What is music? The sounds which are pleasing to the ear are called music or musical sound. For example, musical instruments like flute, guitar, violin, etc. played by the experts, and your favorite singer singing a melodious song. These which are pleasing to hear, when we like hearing the sound, that is, they are called music. But when the music gets too loud, it becomes problematic for us, and then it becomes noise. So what is noise? Sounds which are unpleasant to hear are termed as noise. For example, honking of vehicles, explosions, loud music, etc. And noise will lead to noise pollution. So the sounds which we like to hear are called music. The sounds which we don't like to hear are called noise. Sound can lead to noise pollution. The presence of excessive or unwanted sounds in the environment around us is called as noise pollution. Now, what can be the causes of air pollution? The noise pollution: vehicles honking on the road and traffic signals, explosions or bursting crackers, huge machines at construction sites, factories, etc., loudspeakers and TV, music system played at high volumes, or some kitchen and home appliances like mixers, ACs, etc. As all of these produces loud sounds, they produces noise and leads to noise pollution. Now, what are the harms or effects of noise pollution? Noise pollution mostly leads to health-related problems such as anxiety or stress, headache and irritation, hypertension or high BP or high blood pressure, lack of sleep. Prolonged exposure can lead to temporary or even permanent hearing impairment and can also lead to lack of concentration. What are the measures to limit the noise pollution? Industry and factory units which produce a lot of noise should be set up away from the residential areas, so that even though they produce this loud noise, the humans are not affected. We are not affected by this. Silencers or silencing devices should be installed in aircrafts, industry and home appliances which tend to produce a lot of noise. A lot of trees should be built around such factory units so that they absorb sound and protect the residential areas around them from the loud noise. The trees have the capacity to absorb this vibration. So if we will plant lots of trees, the trees will absorb this noise and will prevent us from having problems from this noise pollution. Then minimal use of horns in vehicles, low volume for TV, music systems at home, and avoid or minimize use of crackers. All these can help us to limit the noise pollution. Children, noise pollution is a problem which don't get much attention as compared to water pollution, air pollution, etc. But nonetheless, this noise pollution also causes a lot of effects or harmful effects on us. It can even lead to some mental problems also due to anxiety, lack of stress, lack of sleep, anxiety, stress. So we must know and prevent and try to limit as much as possible of this noise pollution. Hearing impairment. Total hearing impairment, which is rare, is usually from birth itself. That means the person cannot hear at all. Partial disability is generally the result of a disease, injury, or age. Children with impaired hearing need special care. By learning sign languages, such children can communicate effectively because speech develops as the direct result of hearing. How we learn how we learn to say or pronounce a word. When we hear it, then only we can pronounce it correctly, isn't it? So you just imagine those people who are unable to hear, they are unable to speak also because they don't know how to say the words. So, a child with a hearing loss may have defective speech also. Technological devices for the hearing impaired have made it possible for such persons to improve their quality of life. Society can do much to improve the living environment for the hearing impaired and help them live normal lives. Unable to hear is a huge defect, we can say, or huge impairment, but those people with hearing impairment should not be neglected and they should be accepted as our own people. So this is the device which helps the people for hearing. So it can be used by those people who have hearing impairment for improving their hearing ability. So here we have come to the end of our chapter. I hope that you have understood the whole chapter thoroughly. You please go through your textbook once and we shall meet in the next video. Thank you.